Welcome to Trading Lounge and the indices, and I don't have all the answers for this particular pattern that we're looking at here, but let's talk about what I do know and what I don't know. So first of all, this particular move from this low here moving up here appears to be corrective. It seems to be in three waves. Okay, so that would make, and because this top here has taken out the top here, that would make that an expanded flat correction as a wave 4. Now, if it takes the top of wave 5 out here, pretty much the same distance that it takes that out, it'll take the bottom of this move here out. Now, expanded flats are normally viewed as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here, rather than a WXY. But I'm having difficulty in this move down through here in terms of understanding the best way to count it. I can see different ways to count it, but I can't give you one that's going to be, one that we can use. So we can also see here too that it's about 25 days to this point here, or 24, and the same here as well, about the same within a day or two, in terms of these distances between here, where this is about 10 or 11 days, this little move here, so it's half the distance of this leg and this leg. So it is possible for it to come down, but technically as an expanded flat, it's taken the top out here, done its job, and now it's done its job by taking the low out here. Can it come down here further? Yes. So today we're going to look at a count that can be completed on this low here, and we're going to look at a count that can have one more low to come into place here. Now, I won't be looking at stocks in this video, but when I did the video this morning, all the big tech stocks, they're all sort of shoring up as well. Now, they've half of them can have lows in place, and the other half need to have a little leg further to the downside. So we don't have a lot of evidence, or pretty much not, flimsy evidence of a low being in place. Right, so I will talk, we'll go into the intraday on this low here, and we'll talk about what we would sort of need to have before we could go long. Because in most cases, what we always do is sort of identify possible lows, and then we just wait for the evidence to come into play. And that could be in terms of an impulse wave, it could be a tested support on the closest largest number, it could be that we're seeing stocks leading to the upside, a whole bunch of things that we sort of, boxes that need to be sort of ticked. So technically we'll have a look at what we would sort of need on these lows here. So in this move coming down through here, I've got as a WXY, then we can just have a look at that. Let's just have a bit of a look at that on this 2-hour chart. Nothing special about 2-hour chart, and we'll just bring in this here. So one of the things that I can see here is that from this top here, it does appear that we've got a nice little 5-wave structure in this little move here. So if we called it wave A here and wave B here, it's a rather small wave B. I could also see that we could shift wave B across to this point over here, because this 5-wave here could also be viewed as an A and a B and a C wave in here, and then a move up there. So basically an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. So that could come over to this point and then call this C wave low in here, because this has got 5 waves in here. So it's possible to call it like that. But like I said, I just don't have any evidence of jack shite, actually, at the moment with all of this. And in this case here, when I look at it as a wave B here, down for wave 1, back for wave 2, and then down for wave 3 and back for wave 4 here, where we've got sort of overlap at this particular point here as well. Now also, just while we're here, this little move up here, we identified this little move coming up here yesterday as a 5-wave structure here. And the interesting thing is that in a lot of the stocks, we can see that they also, of course, had this little impulse wave moving up here. And a lot of those stocks have taken this little high out here. So they've moved up here as, you know, what wave A or wave 1. They've pulled back and then they've taken this top out here, and they've, you know, they've got a little bit more to go up here for all of this as well. So yeah, so they're, you know, we're just sort of gathering that information. Based on that, we're just going to move into the 15-minute chart here, and that's our B wave back over to here. So what we're sort of seeing here is that we're starting to see like this bounce here, because the NASDAQ was on 20,000, so it's quite a strong support. So it bouncing has created this bounce here, which has overlapped this point here. Now we've either got, you know, a huge bearish picture going on where we have all these 5 waves down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here as wave 1 and 2 here, and then all of this would be wave 1 and 2, and then all of this would be another smaller wave 1 and 2 here, while the wave 2 here could be an A and a B and a C wave up here for 2, and then go down. So a much bigger bearish picture could be emerging as well. Now we have a count for that, but I'm not going to go into it right now. You can have a look at the alternative count from the Analysts tab over here on that. So in this case, if I did count this down here for this as 1 and 2 and 3 here, and I could put wave 4 here, but there is a case for putting wave 4 over here as well, then this is overlapping with wave 1 here. Now we've seen overlapping before in these cases when we come into lows and tops and those sorts of things. So we'll just allow this to play out. Normally during the week, what I look for in our little bullish weekly cycle is we look for Tuesday and Wednesdays, or Tuesday's a swing day sort of starts, and then Wednesday it swings, and then Thursday we look for the market to shore up, and we could start to look for long trades on Thursday afternoon if we get all the right sort of signals, or even Friday morning at the latest. And if Friday closes strong, then Monday's going to follow through on that. Now, will it be strong to the upside, or will it be strong to the downside? So if we do see Friday morning being quite strong, then we can feed the trend with positions and look to add to those positions in the afternoon if you're a day trader. And then because it closes strong on the Friday, then it's highly likely to continue through on the Monday as well in that momentum, and we won't see any profit taking coming through until Tuesday. Bit of profit taking on Tuesday, and then we go into Wednesdays and Thursdays, which are the swing days. So in this instance here, it's likely that we could see something like this here before having a low in place here. I really just don't know how this is going to play out. I can just see too many options here for this market. But let's have a look at the let's just go back out to say 2 hours here, and let's just have a look at the E-minis here at this point. Didn't click that properly, excuse me. Okay, let's tuck that away. So this is just looking at it in a different way. We've got the A wave here with an ABC. So it's this B wave up here. So in this instance here, I could possibly look at this as 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, and 5, and have a low in place here. But, you know, I wouldn't trust that. Simple as that, you know, at this point. If we go into this little area here, I just want to talk about this for a moment. So if we go into the 15-minute chart here, and we've got this low here, it is possible in the NASDAQ and these markets to count this up here as 5 waves, as we noted yesterday, and now it seems we've got some sort of ABC pattern here. If I take this a little bit further down, we should be able to see, I'll just see if we can look at this on on 1 minute here, just to see if that's moved up even higher. Yeah, so basically what we can look for here is a couple of things. Is that let's just peg this little low here for a moment, and then we'll just just push that up there, because that will give us a bit of a bit of equality in terms of if this is going to fail, then that's where it's going to go to and fail at that point. But even so, going up from this point, this area here is where it's going to play out from. But what we're looking for here is that from this low here to this high up here, if we can track that up in 5 waves, then it doesn't mean that it's bullish, but what will happen in 5 waves, we'll get this pattern here. So what that's going to do when these 5 waves are finished here around this particular thing here, then it's going to drop back at that point. Then it's going to leave that top there exposed. So it'll leave this top here exposed. So that will give us an opportunity to look to go long at that point. But you won't know where that is until this drops back. And when it does drop back, you may be able to find the second high here as well. So any of those 2 highs will be safe to go to the long side on. But if you go below those 2 highs to get a long position in, then you could get burnt at that point, because as I mentioned, stocks, some of the stocks are suggesting that we've got another low to come into play here. So you've got to kind of get this right. And also too, this would end up, you know, just being, if we looked at this here as a corrective pattern here, then this would end up being an A wave and a B wave and a C wave up here. So we don't know what that is at this point in time. Just to have a look at this a little bit more closely in here, I think I may have, I have created this here. So here we've got 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll leave that with you. We've got the A wave here, the B wave, and the C wave over here for the B wave. But more importantly now, over here, we could look at this from the low here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll just map this out here to finish this off here. Let's just assume that we get 5 waves to the upside here. Then that ABC pattern that I talked about will either take you up here, or it's going to bring us down here at that point, because the thing is that this move up here in 5 waves will be will be impulsive, but it can be wave C, or it can be impulsive at that point. I'll just drop that down to the next degree there, so they're all fitting. So basically we have to wait for this to top, and then once that tops and drops, then anything above that we can go long on. Now for the trading levels people, we've got let me just see here for a moment. I have to go, I've still got to put some micro levels in here, but okay, doesn't matter. What I wanted to do here, oh yeah, there we go. So what I wanted to say here is from the 58 here, right, we've got 1, 2, and 3, which is group 1, and then the midpoint here where we're dancing at the moment. So this level up here, the 65, 72, and the 80 is going to be quite critical, and that will be based around around the 5900 area here. So just what I want to do here is I just want to give that a bit of darkness there so we can see it, and I just want to remove this. I'm just going to remove these here anyway. We're done with those. So the other way to view this, if you can't figure it out, you always gravitate to the closest largest number. In this case, it's the 900. And then at the 900 above that, you got 1, 2, and 3, which is group 1. And then below here, you've got 65, 72, and 80. Now, when this wave 3 and 4 plays out here, that's going to play out in that particular space here. So what you're sort of looking for in the bigger picture here, even if this does drop back here, it's going to come back up here again, and it's going to do something like this across this level. and then go up from that point. So what you can do is just wait for a tested support or a classic trading levels pattern on top of the 5.9 there. So that would look like this here. So if this was the 5.9 here, all you need to do is just wait for the first high above the level and then wait for the drop, and then you have that as your reference point. So you can go long above that top, but then you also want to improve on that as well, so the second high and then down here further on that. So this is the safest way to go long in this market on this low here, and it also means that you don't bet, you know, all the kids on this particular trade. You just chuck the smallest one on here, and then as the 59.30 becomes a tested support, you could add onto the 50 here as well as a small position, and then wait for this here, because at this one here you've got the 6,000 here. So the 6,000 here, you'll need what I just talked about here, you'll need to do the same at the 6,000 as well. So there'll be group 1 above and group 2 below here. Okay, so this is where you can look to at the 6,000, look to add again. That's if we're going to the upside. We have to prepare for it. It may occur, all this may occur, and it may not occur. Okay, if it does occur, then now we know what to do. Well, at least this is one idea, and you can build on that. And otherwise, if the market moves down, well, then we're just going to have to rinse and repeat on that. Okay, so let's have a look at the NASDAQ. I'm just going to stay on the 2-hour chart. I don't want to go into the bigger picture because we're just really working this leg here, and I've already burnt up a lot of time. So in this instance here, this is calculated a little bit differently, looking at wave 1 here and 2 here and 3 here, and then an ABC for 4 here, and then one more move down here for this. So once again, with this little move here, we'll have a look at this on the NASDAQ in a little bit more detail, but we want those 5 waves up here as wave C to go here. So we've got to count 5 waves up here, and then it's either going to come down here and then go up from that point, or it's going to come down and make a new low here. So we don't know what's going to occur at this particular point. We've either got this scenario happening, or if we go over to the futures here, we can look at it here. This is, I need to lift it up a degree of structure, but I'll do that later. It doesn't really matter. But in this case here, we're looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. And in this case, we can look at this as a low being in place, but it's the same thing again as well. Whichever way you want to look at this, we still have to wait for the 5 waves here, and when that pulls back with an ABC pattern, then we can build to the long side there. And the important level really from 20,000, the first level to the upside is 21,000. So this here, and you can see it here because you can see how it was support over here, and then it came back and retested supply at the 21 and then fell out of bed at that point. So this is the key number. So one way of looking at it in the slightly bigger picture is that if the 21,000 becomes the tested support, and you would be looking for the normal sort of pattern that we would be looking for, this type of thing here, it could end up not dropping below the level, but most of the time it will drop below the level. So just pinning the high there is really what you need to do at this point. Okay, so that's the sort of simplest way at the 21 here. But now we can just go in here, because what might happen here, and I'll need to go in and have a look, but we could actually get 5 waves up to this area here. That could be possible. We'll check in a moment. And then we would end up dropping back in 3 waves and then pushing up again at that point. But pushing up here again, this is where you get another small little classic trading levels pattern in here. So you get this one and this one. Now, it might be the case too, we're going to go and have a look at a moment, because this may already be quite close to 5 waves here at this point. So there's definitely going to be resistance at this high at the 21, and then this supply zone a little bit higher than that. So if there is going to be, if this is 1 and 2 here and 3 here, oh yeah, it's looking quite good actually, not too bad. Let's just go in and have a bit of a look at this here. So let's just drop from the 2 hour to the 15-minute as a starting point. And yeah, so that's it at this stage. I'm just going to remove this here. And this one while we're here, and then I think we may as well just drop in a little bit earlier in here. So that's where we are. So it hit group 2 here, so 65, 72 and 80, so it's doing all the right things here. It's played out across the midpoint here, and now it's, you know, checking that old high here, of course, and those sort of things. So we need to sort of understand this a little bit. So what I might just do here is just drop it into the 1 minute chart, because I just want to have a look at that leg to the upside here. So with this leg to the upside here, I'm going to look at this. I'm just going to look at all of this as 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, and the fourth wave can pull back to the fourth wave of one lesser degree, and yes, it may overlap and those sort of things. And then so wave 5, this wave 3 here, it had really good form, but it wasn't really as long as this one here, so that means wave 5 will be shorter still. So that, I don't think it's going to go too far at this point. It's going to be something like, you know, something like this here. And then we're going to get that ABC pattern. Well, then we don't know if we're going to get the, you know, the ABC pattern. It'll be something like this, and then push up to there'll be another 5 waves in this one up here to this 21 here, right? And it'll be something like this here, checking the high here, then another wave 1 up here. It'll be something like this, you know. It'll take a little time to build on that 2100 there. But yeah, you know, the flip side of all of this, of course, is that this can come down here, 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 check here, and then, you know, work its way lower at this, you know, as it does at this point. So we need to get past this 5 wave structure. Once we're past that, then you know that we're bullish at that point. It's just where do you get in, and where do you know, how do you manage your initial exposure? That's you know, that's the tricky bit. So that's that. I'll leave that at that, and we want to have a look at the DAX next. Okay, for the DAX, we've got wave 3 over here, and we have to look at this here as an ABC correction here, as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here. And then down for the C wave of wave 4. Now, it never really came down and took out the low here, so that is a little bit of an issue. Is it possible that I could put this wave 4 over to here, and then look at this as wave 5, top being in play over here for this? That's sort of this wave 5 here, put it in top here. That's sort of doable, but it's a little bit short, so I don't want to do that. So I'm probably on the right path here. This is corrective here, so like those other markets, I can see that it at least this is corrective. We'll go and have a look at that in a moment. In fact, I won't. It should be something like this anyway here at this point, but I'll go and have a look at that. Is it possible to look at all of this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here and come down here further? It is a little bit. So that means that we need this top here, to be breached. So if this top here gets breached, then we know that we're good to go to the upside, and this will be wave 4. So this top here is critical. It needs to be taken out. Yeah, just sort of be mindful of that. But that said, let's just go into the 15-minute chart. Yeah, and I can see that that is corrective at that point, and so it's obviously gapped here, so I would assume it's a little bit like the others. Let me just have a look here. That's just my dog choking in the background. Just have a look on the futures here. Okay, I can see on the futures here that I don't want to look at that as wave 1. It's kind of, oh yeah, I can still fit that in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's cool. So what I can see here is I might as well just I'm just going to label this as 1, and that's a little bit messy in there. I can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, so maybe I need to run that up there. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I still got this as 3 and 4 here, and we'll look for wave 5 up here. So basically, if I just come back to the actual DAX now, so we know that this, we could label this here the same, we can label this the same as the SP500 and so on, okay? So we can look at this as being, I'll just put this as 1 and 2 in here, and 3 up here, and 4 here, and 5 here. And in this case, I will bring it into this one here, so it's a little bit wobbly in there, don't worry about that. So the same thing again here, so you don't need to do anything here. All you need to do is just allow this to move up. I don't know how far it's going to go. We want it to take that top out. We want it to move up here. So look, it could move up here higher. You know, it could be here, I don't know. But we need this here, right? And I don't know how far it's going to drop back at this point either. But what we're looking for is we're looking for this top here. This top, or this one, of course, to go long on at that point. That's, if you can get that, that's fine. But if it doesn't take that top out, then it can come back down here, okay? So just be mindful of that. Okay, let's have a look at the FTSE. So this is just the daily chart here for this. So we're looking at here from wave 1, 2, 3, 4. I could put wave 5 in here and have a top in here. That would be fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I wanted to put it up here further because looking for the, you know, the other markets to push up higher. So we're looking at this here as being wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up here to finish this off. And at the 9,000 here, this is a medium level. So we're going to start seeing a much bigger corrective pattern playing out across here. Okay, so the takeaway is that yes, we can put wave 5 here, but if we do push up, then we'll be looking for 5 waves of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So with that said, we'll just go into the 15-minute chart here, and that move to the upside here would be wave 3 here, wave 4 here, going up for wave 5. So this will be 1 and 2 here, and then pushing up here higher. So not the best looking C wave here. So there may also be another move to come into here, but basically we want to see this top here being taken out here. That will create the entry at that point. Okay. So sure, we could count this down as 5 waves and being completed here, but I can see whichever way I count it, we've got sort of issues with it. So we'll just allow it to be. This will be 5 waves here for the A wave, and then an A and a B and a C for the B wave here. So this can be, there's a bit of overlapping wave structures in this, so it's possible we can have another move down. So that's where we are for the FTSE. Let's have a look at the Aussie market. We'll just look at the futures. Now I'm just going to stay from this top here down here for this. Now there's a lot of variations that could be made in the bigger picture, but in a bit of a nutshell, if the other markets around the world are going to push up, then this market's going to push up. The second thing is we don't want to go short here, because at 8,000 here, it's just offering a lot of support. It could get quite choppy around this whole area through here. I'm still expecting another move to the downside, but once again, we'll just be mindful that it could just push up from here. So this move here can count up as 5 waves. So we could see this as wave 1 with wave 2 over here, and then wave 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. So it's the same story that I've been talking about with the others here. We have to see 5 waves up here, and once we've got that top in, I'll just push this down here, but once we've got that top in there, then we can go long on that point. So it's kind of as simple as that. We're expecting another one down. We may or may not get it. If we are going to go long, we have to move past this here being an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. We have to move past that. You know, that's the trick of all of this. That's where we are at the moment with it. So I can just leave it that simple, really. I'll just take it to 15 or down to 5 minutes, because obviously it should have pushed up by now. Yeah, so it's pushed up a little bit further. So it's the same count to the upside as the others. So we could look at this. We could give them any sort of label, but it's the 5 waves label here that we want to be mindful of here. So that's the 5 waves here. So don't worry about looking for the top. It'll come to you. Okay, you don't need to chase that. So you just need to, you know, there'll be the morning squeeze and all the rest of it. So I don't know how that will play out, but wave 5 can come up here somewhere. I think the beginning of group 2 will probably be about its limit, 81.65. It'll all be about this number here, the 81.50 here. So you'll end up seeing this playing out here in one way or another. You know, but you have to wait for that you have to wait for the top and then the drop there. So yeah, it's a nice 5 wave structure at this stage, but it's just this wave 4 needs to play out, and then we need this this other move to the upside there as well. So I'll just leave them as those little 5 waves there. And yeah, so it's pretty much the same across the board. And stock is looking, you know, tech stocks are looking quite good. So we'll just see. But yeah, don't be surprised in this case if there is, you know, one more move to the downside for all of this. All right, so you have to let that, don't go chasing that top, let it play out and then drop, and then just be patient, you know, start from the top and, you know, do all the right things, the first high and then the second high. And that's about all you can do at this point, because otherwise you're sort of getting into it's like this thing here, you know, you got this first high, then you got the second high. Don't go looking for another one down here, because you need to reassess what's going on at that point. Rightio, I'll leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.